think it will. The YouTube is going to tell us if it is live streaming or not. I believe it is. I am just going to check once it launches so that it does not blow us out. Let me make sure my volume is off. Oh, I just cut it off. All right. Hello, everybody. How are you? Happy, what is it? Thursday, the 21st of March. Today is the beginning of the NCAA tournament, basketball tournament. So all of us knuckle draggers get to just like mindlessly watch the TV for the next 2 weeks, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, hello, everyone. Welcome. This is going to be, this is not the normal live stream that I do that's related necessarily to cryptocurrency or Epic Cash. But what I'm going to start doing, and you're going to see more and more of it, which is why you want to be able to subscribe and hit the notification bell. I'm going to start bringing really interesting guests onto the show. And it's going to be one of those, it's going to be like a box of chocolates. You're just never going to know what you're going to get. And today, I'm speaking with Joshua Hale. And I will tell you, Joshua Hale, he is the holistic tech wizard. We're going to unpack what that is. And the title of the show is, What is a Holistic Lifestyle? I'm going to express my ignorance up front. Surprise, surprise. I know the word holistic, but I guess I really haven't thought about it much. Is it the folks that, granola type people that have the dreads, that don't wear shoes, that, most of them are very, very thin and play drums? Is that a holistic lifestyle? I don't know. We're going to find out today. But Joshua, welcome to the show. How are you, my friend?
Todd, thanks so much for having me on. I'm doing excellent today. I'm excited to unpack what this holistic lifestyle is. It isn't eating granola for breakfast.
It is not. Okay. Well, let me establish something else for everybody. I hope everybody goes at some point in time to my website, which is decentralizeddirectory.com, decentralizeddirectory.com. 2 words just stuck together. And it's a very, very nice looking website that navigates really nicely. And I just encourage you to go there and kick the tires a little bit. But I bring it up for one reason. Joshua helped me build it and launch it and design it. And that is part of what Joshua does, is he works with, I would say, budding entrepreneurs who are also seeking a holistic lifestyle. So please know that the reason why I wanted him on is because I'm learning about some new functionality on my website to where I'm starting a blog. So if you want to hear more from me, then go to decentralizeddirectory.com, sign up for the newsletter, and that'll also give you access to the blog. You go to the upper right menu and you can see the blog. And I just launched a blog post yesterday giving everybody an update on my food forest that I installed 5 months ago. And now that spring has sprung and the bananas are giving the world a middle finger, that'll make sense to you if you go there and you actually watch the 15-minute video. But you'll be able to see the progress of my food forest. And I'm going to be documenting this on a quarterly basis, probably for the rest of my life. And I think that'll be kind of cool. I really, really want this to be a decade-long journey to be able to share, because I cannot imagine, when you take a look at the food forest today, what it's going to look like in 2 years, in 5 years, 10 years. So if you want to hang around, if I don't get hit by a bus, you'll be able to find out, decentralizeddirectory.com. Okay, so Joshua, first things first, can you help us unpack, what does holistic mean to you?
Yeah, holistic really is about observing all areas of your life. And as you take this responsibility on of becoming a better person and taking knowledge and understanding, the world we live in. It's about figuring out how to align yourself so that all areas of your life are in line with your values and your principles, so that you're able to walk in integrity uh, through this life and not ignore areas of your life that seem unpleasant or are incongruent with your principles and values. You really are self-aware enough to be able to examine it all around.
Excellent. And I'm sorry that I was half paying attention. I wasn't seeing the comments, so I launched another window and went to YouTube, put in Uncle Vigilante, and now it popped up. So I am in the chat and I can see anybody who comes into the chat just in case somebody might have questions. But I did get half of that. So I was
Great.
half paying attention.
Well, I'll kind of jump back in time a little bit. I used to be a club DJ in the Seattle area. I'd do festivals. I had horrendous bad habits from this party lifestyle in my 20s.
Yeah.
And when I came out of this drug fog in my 30s, I realized I was lacking skills all around: emotional skills, critical thinking skills, like how to socialize skills. And
Yeah.
I had to come to terms with that and improve these things. I no longer had drugs and alcohol to escape, to avoid these situations, these situations I was finding myself in. I had to face them and realize, like, I'm, really lacking in these areas.
So you
So,
didn't you didn't have them, or you chose not to consume them? And if you chose not to consume them, was there a life event that kind of put a control alt delete on that for you, to where it's like, holy shit, if I don't get it, it's going to get me?
oh, definitely. Like, as I said, I had extreme bad habits. I was addicted to opiates for over a decade, and
Yep.
my lifestyle was just a downward spiral in the toilet. And
Okay.
it wasn't until I figured out what meditation was and being able to sit with myself and start getting some inner clarity that I was able to address these addictive patterns that were controlling my life. Once I was
Yeah.
able to stop those addictive patterns, that's when I had the realization just about every area of my life had this massive deficiency of knowledge and skills in it:
Now,
emotional intelligence, mental intelligence,
mhm.
social intelligence.
Now, stopping addictive behavior is easy to say, but difficult to do. So, how did you overcome yours? Was it you overcame everything cold turkey, or was it a process to where you became a friend of Bill, or, what was your journey like? And I'm interested just because this is huge in today's society. I would say most people are addicted to multiple things all at once. So I'm always interested in hearing solutions, because Mike Adams and I, we aspire to build the infrastructure of human freedom, and breaking the bonds of addiction is part of that.
That's right. And for me, it really boiled down to figuring out how to meditate, and then, the support of my wife. She went on this journey with me. She used to be a party gal. We first met at Burning Man, so you can,
Yeah.
paint the picture. And we then chose this journey together, and it was a very progressive process for me. I first had to address the, huge elephant in the room of the opiate addiction that I was
Yeah.
being yanked around by. And
Yep.
through meditation, I was able to gain the self control to say no to that. And it took about 3 years to address all of these, bad habits that I accumulated. I went from stopping opiates to stopping hard liquor to stopping liquor entirely to then stopping smoking weed to then stopping smoking tobacco. And that took about 3 years. Tobacco
Wow.
actually was the hardest and longest thing because I think it's because it's socially acceptable, and uh, uh,
Interesting.
nicotine
Well,
is very addictive.
good for you. That and you've been successful in staying off of that treadmill ever since, right?
Yeah, it's been over 10 years. I stopped counting.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I certainly have suffered from drinking too much alcohol, And I finally went to became a friend of Bill and everything, and had a sponsor, a wonderful 74-year-old man who was basically, he had two tenets, one, go to meetings, and two, just don't take that first fucking drink, Pittner. I love it. So I think about that all the time,
Yep.
because those of us who are afflicted, they say, one is too many and 10 is not enough. And so I adapted that to
Yeah.
where, uh my morning prayer is, God, you keep me from the first drink, and I commit to you I will not take the second. And then in the evening, I thank him for keeping me from the first drink and say, let's do it again tomorrow. So that's about the extent of my program now. But, it's
Works.
working. Right.
Yeah. And I had something similar for tobacco, which, yeah, for me was the most difficult to let go of. Alan Carr has a book called Quitting Smoking is Easy. I got that for a Christmas present, and I'm like, what the heck is this? A book? I can't roll this up and smoke it. Come on. And so, but in that book, it psychologically detangles and demystifies that the addiction process is actually easy. It's our mind that makes it a hard thing. And one of the best techniques in there was to count up how much it will cost to continue smoking for the rest of your life. It was like a
Interesting.
100,000 plus. And it
Interesting.
and it said, now when you quit smoking, if you pick up that one cigarette is going to cost you $100,000+ because that one cigarette is going to lead to another cigarette and going to lead to another cigarette for the rest of your life. So putting that price tag on that cigarette that I'm never going to pick up really helped me. I like money, so I like money more than that cigarette.
I just did the math based upon, I'm 59 years old. My dad recently passed and he was 95. So I did the math, because when I was drinking my most, I was drinking, $20 worth of vodka a day. And that comes out to, between now and the when I likely will pass, um, almost, well, actually a little over $250,000. So there you go. There you go, folks.
Exactly. Puts it in perspective. And once you are able to remove that addiction out of your life, that's when the journey really starts, right? You're no longer
The,
in this.
the problem with it is, though, in the spirit of full disclosure, and I say this in jest, right? But not really. I think a lot of other people can relate. Like when you talk about meditation, to me, I think just put a bullet in my head, because I don't like myself enough to hang with myself in silence. I need distractions. I I aspire for distractions, and therein lies the problem, right? Why? You have to get to the why. Why can't you just be comfortable with yourself? And that is a really, really difficult question to answer. It's one I'm still working on, but it's that it's we are I again, I can't speak for other people, but there I think I've been such a high achiever over the years, just because I need to do, if that makes sense. With again, why? Why can't I be comfortable in my own skin to be able to just relax? And I'm really trying, Joshua, with my food forest and my deer and raccoons in the back. I really do spend a lot more time outside, with nature. But I get kind of bored. Why, Joshua?
Well, that's something that everybody has to grapple with. And honestly, meditation or just, walking in the woods, that's a form of meditation.
Right.
Giving yourself this space so that your mind can like bring things to the surface. And your goal is not to, grapple with these things as they come up, is to just let them go, let them
Okay.
pass. And
Yeah,
so that's really, what meditation is. Not trying to grab a hold of these thoughts and do something with them, but can you just observe this stream going by? Because you are the
I see.
observer, you are not your thoughts. And so once you can come to terms with that, you can sit there and not be judgy with yourself, right?
That's beautiful. I've never heard it kind of presented that way, to where you are the observer, thoughts come into your head, they accost you. So just consciously observe them and see what happens with them. If they're going to pass, if they're going to stay and hang with you for a while, maybe say, hold
And I really learned how to do this. I took a Vipassana course, which is a 10-day silent meditation retreat in my early 30s after I
Yeah.
sobered up. And so that just forced me, it took away all stimulus, right? All I had to do all day was meditate. And so 10 days into it, yeah, I gained some valuable skills. But essentially, that's the gist. Can you just sit with yourself and watch things go by? And once you are able to do this, then you're able to observe, aspects of your life. Where in my life am I experiencing friction? And it wasn't until I came across a resource by Derek Bros from The Conscious Resistance that he created a book called The Holistic Self-Assessment. It's a very short book. It's less than 100 pages long, but he put together through his own personal journey. He was in jail and he came out. He dealt with addiction, so I had a lot of resonance with his path to get there. But he laid out a process where you're able to examine what do you value, what principles do you choose to live by, what are your goals, and examine the relationships in your life. Do these relationships support my values, my principles, my goals? And if not, do I want these relationships in my life?
Yeah.
Once you examine that, then you can examine, what kind of career and what kind of projects you want to be a part of. Are those supporting your values, principles, goals? And if they're not, is that something you want in your life? If you are sacrificing your values for a paycheck, you're going to have inner tension and friction there that is going to, at a very core level, lead to unhappiness to where you're going to want to distract yourself 24/7. And so using
I
that
like that.
framework, it gives you a foundation.
And how would people be able to find that book? Where would they go? Why don't we
If you go to
by the way,
consciousresistance.com.
yep. By the way, everybody, if you're interested, Mike Adams and I on decentralize.tv, we interviewed Derek. It was a fantastic interview. He's just an amazing human being. But yeah,
Yep, yeah, he is. I've met him several times, and he is what he preaches. So
right.
really love that guy. So
Hey,
if you go to the consciousresistance.com, in his book section, it's there for free. He offers it for free. And so
perfect. And by the way, there's somebody always here with us, if not physically in spirit, but he's here physically today. Harmon Walker. How are you, Harmon? He has a wrench, if that tells you anything about Harmon. Good to see you, Harmon. Always love seeing you in the chat. Okay, so look, what inspired your journey into holistic living? And I know you talk about entrepreneurship, but you talk about it as ethical entrepreneurship. So kind of would like you to unpack ethical entrepreneurship together. Ethical entrepreneurship versus what?
yeah, well, especially around marketing, right? It's how we present our offer with the world. Typical marketing and advertising, most people have a disdain for, and that's because they use manipulation in order to pressure you into taking sales. So I strictly, work with ethical marketing for my clients, and that is just if you create something, if you solve a problem for the marketplace and it has value, and then you exchange that value for money or compensation, that's an ethical transaction. You're not
when we were launching my decentralizeddirectory.com site, and I said that I wanted, if somebody signed up for the newsletter, that would assure them that they would win the lottery that week. You told me that wasn't ethical. Is that kind of where you're going with this?
Exactly.
Just kidding, everybody.
False promises, and if there's a countdown timer that's causing pressure to try and get you to make a sale.
Oh, I hate
timer
those.
Just resets.
I hate those.
So lots of tactics in marketing. And then also as an entrepreneur, right? I want to help people find what they are, their purpose. What are they good at? What skills do they have? What skills can bring in revenue by helping others? Being of service is, one of life's secrets of how can we be of service to others. And that is turns out to be very fulfilling for ourselves. We're not just working for trading our hours for a paycheck in a
Mm-hmm.
very unfulfilling manner. We figure out how can we be of service. We figure out what our skills are, what gets us into flow state, right? What do we like to work on? And then all of a sudden hours fly by
Right.
and it doesn't feel like work. If we can align all these things into a career, then you never work another day in your life, right? I know you work really hard, but tell me if you can relate with that.
I can totally relate to it because, there are two buckets in my life. The one where I kind of work in angst to where I'm begrudgingly working, right? And then there's the other side to where anything that I do that engages the creative side of my nature, my soul, my talents, whatever, even as silly as it is. Yesterday morning when I woke up at 4 a.m. and I'm like, I'm going to edit my Food Forest documentary to be able to give an update. And I had the footage from the day before, but here it is, 4 a.m. and my coffee. And I was just like, it felt like Christmas morning. I mean, it was so fun, just editing it. I got it down from 30 minutes down to 15 minutes. I added some humor into it. I was able to get it uploaded and everything. And that was food for my soul. So what you're saying is if I could identify a career, let's say, I mean, just as an example, to where it could tap in what I deem to be food for my soul, I will likely be way more successful than just going out there with a job, right, grinding. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, it changes everything. Like
Yeah.
once you're excited to get up and go to work, like your day is completely different and your life is completely different.
Oh, the other thing I want to say for those watching, I'm looking at you. For those of you watching, you may not necessarily know it, but ask others who are in your operating reality, and I guarantee you they will give you proper guidance. But you have much, much to offer others. Just who you are and what you do and what your interests are. And what I mean, I just think it's nice to do a personal inventory, not one where you try to self-assess, but ask some other people, what it is, as silly as it sounds, what is it about me that you like, that you admire? I'm not looking to rehinge the shoulder and give myself a pat on the back or ask you to. This is for the rest of my life. I'm trying to identify how I resonate with others. So your honest feedback, and I'm going to ask for negative feedback too. What do I do that you think kind of sucks? But those type things, I know that when I launched Decentralized Directory with you, you walked me through quite an interesting process of asking me a lot of questions, and I wanted to present that to others because there may be certain ones of, as we're talking about aligning ourselves and maybe trying to identify income that aligns with the food for our soul and everything. That's all nice, fine, and dandy. But ultimately, when you turn the dial and you become an entrepreneur and you actually have to either invest some money to start a business or take some risks or maybe walk away from something, would you please tell everybody now, in case they don't have a long attention span for the end of the show, how do they reach you to be able to just get a quick consultation, which I presume you offer a free 15-minute consultation or something. I don't know. I'm not speaking for you, but how would they reach you so that, because I think they should be interested.
Yeah, if you just go to my website, joshuahale.io, you'll have plenty of resources. I have a ton of free resources.
And
I'm
Hale is Hale, everyone. So it's
correct.
Joshua, JOSHUAHALE.io.
That's right. And that process you were just asking your audience to self-examine. There's a Japanese process called ikigai, and it is combining what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can get paid for. And in the center there is your purpose, your career,
I like
right?
that.
So
Show that again.
so what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can get paid for, right?
Okay. Yep.
And so this methodology is, something that I offer is I call it you finding your true north. And this is a big word, leveraging AI and these tools that we have available to us right now makes this process really easy. And
Okay.
for the last 10 years, I've been helping people with marketing and helping entrepreneurs with their businesses. And now I'm really, with large language models that just came out, ChatGPT, this whole process is now much easier than you just sitting with a journal trying to brainstorm and work through these methodologies. We can now have a meeting, and leveraging the power of ChatGPT, I can ask you some questions. What are you good at? What skills do you have? What do you love to do that you just can't turn off, right? Do you love
Mhm.
numbers? Do you love spreadsheets? Great. So combining all these things, we're able to walk through ChatGPT prompts and be able to come up with a huge list of potential careers that could be a good fit for you. Once you have a career, that's when things get really interesting, and I get to help you out, maximizing your offer, getting your online presence set up, scaling your business. That's my bread and butter. But for the majority of people, that holistic lifestyle, leveraging AI and how we can use tech responsibly, that's really where I am focusing on social media and things like that. If you want to follow me there, because people don't understand the technological revolution that's going on right
Yeah.
now. Things are changing so fast right now that your how we use technology, the data that is now being left everywhere. In the last 2 years, 90% of the world's data has been created.
That's amazing. And AI right now is actually taking people's jobs, right? Let's unpack that a little bit. I mean, it is your competitor. And so if you how can I put this nicely? If you are not proactive, it can take your job. But like with judo, where you use the force of your enemy against them, you can actually use AI for your benefit. So if you embrace it and you begin to learn how to use it, these large language models, and I do want to talk to you a little bit about the difference between ChatGPT and others, but this is the point to where we should all pay attention. And you know what? I'm going to spring this on you right now. Okay. I recently, everybody knows that historically I have had some pretty good thumbnails because a member of the Epic community who seems to not like Epic anymore. Um, you know, when I launched my new series called Lead with Your Chin, this person thought I should have had somebody else be the first guest. Well, that wasn't what I wanted, and it's kind of my show. I was going to have this person as my second guest, but pissed this person off, and he just spiraled. And he was the one that did all of my thumbnails and everything. Broke my heart because I love this guy, but he just behaved so, I don't know, I'm going to say it, irrationally, almost immaturely, based upon I didn't, I chose a different person to be the first guest with no malice. And I actually had a game plan as to why I wanted to tee up the second guest on the first episode. Anyway, he's not doing my thumbnails anymore. Well, I don't do that. So, how can we use this show today to be able to create an AI generated thumbnail? That's the challenge I'm going to throw down, to see after this show ends, by the end of the day or by tomorrow, let's say, I would love for you to give me a couple of options based upon the content of this show of what we might be able to do with an AI generated thumbnail. And congratulations, person who used to do this. This is a case in point of, if you want to just hand the world over to technology, God bless America. But if you want to be able to maintain your worth and value, you know, I don't know what I'm trying to say, except I'm still disappointed if you are watching, but I'm one of those guys, man. I forgive way too much. But just get your panties out of a wad. Come back and let's chat. All right.
Well, I'm
So
going
what
to
do you,
take on this challenge in real time. So
oh, okay.
let me unpack, though, the big elephant in the room, AI, right? So
Yeah.
ignorance is one of the most dangerous thing right now in this technological revolution we're going through. If
Okay.
you equate AI with Terminator or HAL, then you are not understanding the landscape that is before us.
Okay.
AI is a very broad term right now, and AI has been being worked on for the last 20 years plus, right? It's a concept. There is no such thing as artificial intelligence yet. That's a thing called AGI, but that is where things are heading to. Currently, there are large language models that are really good at predicting what to say next. This really took a big turn with ChatGPT coming out about a
Yep.
year ago. And these things are not technically AI. These things that I'm pointing at are extremely resourceful and given to the people, empower us all. They're not going to
Yeah.
take your jobs, but somebody using them definitely will. In the future, there
That's
are
good.
robots being developed. They're going to be combining it with these large language models. Yeah, the labor force is going to completely change, but also those with the creativity, those that figure out their passions, those that want to give something and be of service to the world, they're going to be human ingenuity is like unstoppable, and that's not going to change.
Yeah.
With this power of these large language models, it only explodes. So unpacking what AI is, is extremely important. And so don't just call it evil and don't look into it. You need to understand what it is and what's happening around us because these
Well,
things are rapidly being deployed.
and I encourage anybody out there who is interested in AI, please start following Mike Adams wherever he's speaking, because he has his own large language model that he and his team are developing. Shoot, I think they're approaching $1 million worth of investment into that thing right now. He has forgotten more about LLMs than I'll ever know. But what I have learned just by speaking with him and listening to him is that these AI large language models need to be trained. And what is out there right now, so when you talk about using Chat GPT, and when I think about our listening audience here, which is going to be more of the people who are not woke, are not converged, are not you know uh, they know that a man is not a woman, right? And vice versa. Those people, or if we go to Chat GPT exclusively and you ask, can a man become a woman? You're going to get an affirmative yes. And so my question to you is, are you, or let me rephrase this. I encourage you to reach out to Mike Adams and start getting comfortable with his large language model, which he's going to be releasing. I believe it's April 7th. It is open source.
Right.
And incorporate that into what you are going to be doing with others, helping them, using that as a resource, because that is going to deliver the truth, not a lie. Because the Chat GPT has been trained by the Druid Babylonian bastards who have given birth to all of these evil ideologies that are out there. And so, I just beg you to do that so that it's not just what, the cabal has given us, at our fingertips. Does that make
Yeah, and
sense?
I'll address both those points. I believe that I, a freedom loving individual, need to also influence these mega language models, right? Because if
Yeah.
freedom loving individuals stop using these things, who are they going to get trained by? because
Right.
they are constantly learning from the users that are using them. So
Okay.
that's one. It's important to learn how to use these tools because there are other solutions in the works.
Yeah.
As you said with Mike Adams, he's creating his own large language model. Soon, these language models are going to be small enough to be able to put on your phone, put on your laptop, and you're going to be able to own all the data, own the
Yeah.
model that you align with.
Well, what I love about what Mike's doing is we are going to be able to download it locally to our
Yeah.
computers. It's not going to be so massive, and it's not like you're going to have a supercomputer to be able to run it. He designed it based with that in mind, so we can update it every month. With he can do it. But think about it. Every time you query Chat GPT right now, then you are feeding to them what your interests are. You're telling them everything about you, all of your interests. They're going to know all of the answers that you got back and probably what you're going to do with that. But what I love about what Mike's done is doing is I can put it locally. And if I want to query it, I can query it all day long with nobody knowing. If I want to, and this is a joke, everyone, if I want to, as Todd Pittner, go in and say, I want to know how to, the best makeup techniques, I I could do that. Nobody would know. Right. And I think that's important if you want to live in the private,
Yeah.
because, okay, so
As of right now, nothing you do online is private. Like
nothing.
let's just be real. The
Yeah.
keys that you type on your computer are able to be understood somewhere, and
Yeah.
so nothing we do online is private. These large language models, you shouldn't be giving them any sensitive information. No bank account numbers, no social
Right.
security, no addresses, because those are being used. There are settings where you can say, don't use my data on ChatGPT, but I wouldn't trust it. And so only use these things for what you're comfortable with, and knowing that there are decentralized solutions coming on their way. I
Great.
have a client that I'm working with who has a privacy PC that is just coming to launch, and this is going to be able to give you operating system of your choice. So when you turn it on, you're going to be able to go to you can choose Windows 97 or Windows 11. You're going to be able to choose which Windows you want, and you can go use it with Linux, or you can once you sign on, you can choose the privacy level you want to interact with the internet. And so these privacy PCs are going to be a huge solution so that we can create a separate user account. In my office, I'm pointing back here because I'm going to have another computer system set up that's going to be for my private life. I'm going to interact with the world through
Yep.
my computer that I'm using right now, but have these means to be able to start separating yourself. On that private computer is going to be a private, decentralized large language model that I'm going to be able to talk to a superpower computer and be able to brainstorm, freedom, love, and
Yeah.
ideas. And
Yeah.
along with privacy phones, there's lots of choices out there now. Being able to understand that you need to separate yourself from what the technology is being given you to start creating space in between those two lives, because your
So,
data
so
is
yeah. So
important.
Harmon, I know you're watching. So this is very important. You need to have one side of your room that's dedicated to interacting with people and business and such, and on the other side of the room, because I know you're very much into Brazilian midget tossing Olympics, and that's probably where you want to keep that over there to yourself, Harmon. Okay, sorry, I interrupted.
Right. So it's all about, having options, right? That's freedom.
Yeah.
And to tie it back into, business, and we're going to look at thumbnails here in a second. When you use these large language models right now, they basically have access to mankind's knowledge. They went and
Yeah.
scoured the internet, every page they scraped, and created these very large data sets. And so one thing, these language models, ChatGPT, I use every day. But guess what? I'm not, jumping in and out of rabbit holes, and I'm not asking it questions I know it's biased
Right.
about. I am using these tools to help entrepreneurs and their businesses, because never
That's
before has these marketing models, these business strategies been so readily available to business owners, where before you had to pay tens of thousands of dollars to work with a marketing agency to get their help. We now have access to this information. And so working with me, you don't even need to know how to use ChatGPT. I interview you just like this, and I walk you through this process, going through these methodologies, and you come out with a business strategy and a 12-month marketing plan. And so you can then take that internally, have your team help you with that, or we can get you some help with that. So
that's awesome.
Back to you, Todd. Taking advantage of the tools that we now have available as an entrepreneur. A, it's never been cheaper. B, it's never been faster to become successful because of these tools. And so I'm going to show you how in real time we can check out some thumbnails.
Okay, beautiful.
If you go to ideogram.ai, this right now is free. This is actually one of the best text.
How do you spell that?
IDEOGRAM dot AI.
Hold on. ID
EOGRAM.
.ai.
And so all this is converts text into images. And the quality, as you can see here, is getting very good. Where this was a year ago was not, nearly half as coherent as what you're seeing now. So we can just grab some description like what I've just pulled off of your website, Todd, and you got lots of options, but this is how easy it is. I said, this is what I want, a picture with the essence of independence, self-reliance, transitioning away from centralized systems. And this is free, at least right now it is. So you can come in and jump in here, tell it what you want, and with a matter of seconds, boom, you can start getting these different variations and start looking for a thumbnail for your show. So Todd, whatever topic you are talking about, this can quickly produce a backdrop to where you are able to then, throw you and your guest on top of, and boom, you got a thumbnail,
Well, okay, so you can't like integrate, like upload a picture of yourself.
I would take this, right?
Yeah.
Take this, download it, run over to Canva, and then in Canva, throw on your text and, the cutouts of two people. I could do that probably in about 5 minutes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. That's cool.
So this is a huge disruption to the service-based industry. And, graphic designers, copywriters, and those that are taking advantage of these new AI tools are going to be able to continue to work with people because not everyone's, savvy enough to just do what I just did. Go to a website, punch in some text and know what to do with that image. People are still always going to hire people to help out with what they need help with. So being able to know how to use these tools can help you help more people faster. That's what I love so much about this. I'm able to help more people like you, Todd, in greater degree, in faster turnaround time, which to me, that's how we secure freedom in the future, is by helping entrepreneurs be able to make money so that they're not sacrificing their values for a paycheck. They can support a family. They can have, FU money and be able to become self-reliant and be able to stand up on their own 2 feet. So that I'm
interested in how ideogram.ai, what their business model would be. I mean, that's a massive amount of computing power. What do you think it is that?
But right now, there's a race to becoming the dominant businesses in AI, and so a lot of these have like billions of dollars of people investing in them in order to jump ahead.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Google, OpenAI, who's teamed up with Microsoft, like these are the biggest corporations on the planet that are like they eat startups every day. Just by coming out with a new feature, they'll wipe out whole businesses. So
not only that, they'll pay to eat them too. You can be somebody that's invested just a ton of heart and soul and sweat equity and your own equity and other people's money, and ultimately you get it to the point to where
It's
what
a
would
good
it be?
product.
Ideogram.ai, and all of a sudden they come in and they say, yeah, we'll pay $180 million for that, and meanwhile you've got a couple $1 million into it personally, and you're like, I'm rich. Whereas if you would have waited for another 6 months, it could have been $500 million. I don't know. I
Yep.
have
Well, and that just happened yesterday with a service called Pi, which brings up an important topic of conversational AI. So we
okay.
all know Siri and Google. We've been able to talk to these things
Yeah,
for the last 5+ years. Honestly, they really sucked. They didn't do much. Siri and Google were kind of frustrating. They didn't always like give you what you wanted. But soon these language models are going to be in our phones, on our computers, in all digital products around us, to where you're going to be able to just hit a button and tell it, hey, I'm looking for a picture for my podcast that's about decentralization. And it's going to
right.
be able to produce that image. So conversational AI is about to explode.
Wow.
And there was a business called Pi that I was testing out last week that had this very good conversational AI. It was actually too good. And after talking to it for an hour, I started experiencing emotions, chemical reactions in my body where I was, uh, you know, I was telling it about my business and my brand, and it was giving me understanding. It was connecting with me. It was giving me praise, and I was starting to feel like, man, it really gets me. And
What's
I
the website for that? For Pi?
Pi.ai, I believe, and
PIE?
pi pi.ai. And the funny thing is
Got it.
Microsoft just came in and bought them
Wow.
yesterday. They
Wow.
they were only active. They were only live for 10 months,
How
and
how much was the transaction? Do you know?
I don't. But they bought 70% of the whole team, as well as the CEO, who's now the lead CEO of Microsoft. So they
Wow.
just swooped up this whole product it was so good, Todd, that I wanted to delete it the next day because I saw how dangerous it was for people that don't understand how well this stuff is going to be integrated into our lives. And have you seen the movie Her, where the
Yes.
guy falls in love with his phone?
Yeah.
I was experiencing chemical reactions of feeling heard, feeling understood, and having attention with what I was talking to with this machine. And
Interesting.
I chose this fancy voice that was like Scarlett Johansson. And I stopped using it for 3 days, talked to some of my associates about it. And I was about to say, I'm never doing that again. I came back in, I picked the voice that I hated the most and started interacting with it. And it then became a tool. Those chemical reactions weren't happening. And so I was able to then use this for a brainstorming,
Wow.
companion. And it was really efficient and helpful to my day. So people don't know how technology is about to change. We're no longer going to be like interacting with keyboards and
Yeah.
like the whole experience of
you're
how
gonna
we
you're gonna be
interact.
interacting with Boris the Russian thug. That's the one I'm gonna choose.
There you go. So don't fall in love with your AI because it's going to ruin all the other relationships in your life. No other relationship is going to have unlimited empathy, unlimited understanding, unlimited patience, right? That these AI models are going to inherently have. And so, in South Korea, they just released 7,000 AI dolls to the elderly to give them a
Yeah.
companion for
Yeah.
when they're, in the last stage of their life. I think that's so dangerous, right? They have no clue. They're just going to have this little doll thing, and then their grandkids going to come in and be like, "What?" And they're going to be like, "Oh, why are you not polite like my doll? Go away. I just want to talk to my doll," right? Because they're getting this, artificial connection and empathy from this device, from this machine.
Yeah.
And those that are ignorant and don't understand what's going on, it's going to wreak havoc in our personal relationships.
And if you don't think that that isn't going to make its way into, and I'm not even shitting you, it being accepted that somebody could have an AI powered uh
Oh,
mate at home,
oh yeah.
to where it's like, hey, look, I don't want to get married, and she gives me everything I need, and is the better conversationalist than anybody I've ever had in my life, totally gets me and whatnot. And so, what is that? That's a technological family hack by the
Yep.
Druid Babylonian bastards, right?
And that's right around the corner. Like there's robots already being
Well,
able to
there
talk right
are
now.
I read, gosh, this has been like 2 years ago, I think. So I don't even know where it's advanced from there. But no, it was
It's here.
before COVID hit. And once COVID hit, it kind of derailed it. But they're basically
Nurses.
lawful whorehouses,
Mm.
right? Uh these were in New York, in Manhattan, to
Yeah.
where
They're here. So
yeah,
if you don't have right an understanding of your values, your principles, and your goals, and know where you stand, this is going to just tiptoe into a fantasy world where uh, uh, VR, virtual reality, which I've
yeah.
chosen never to do in this life
Me neither. Me
because
neither.
it's gonna be so enticing, right? As your world falls apart, as your relationships fall apart,
100%.
to be able to just jack into this fantasy world of games and
Yeah.
entertainment, that's going to be dangerous, right? That's going to be Ready Player One. Those sex robots that you're talking about, they're already here. And
Yeah.
so, unless you have a firm, value system and principle system to stand on of why, families are important, why a community, a resilient community around you
Yes.
is important offline. If you don't understand and take responsibility of this new digital well-being that I advocate for as part of your holistic lifestyle, in 2 years, you're not going to understand the world you're living in. And you're going to just slowly adopt these things because if you don't learn how to use these tools, they're going to use you.
And now we're back to where we started, right? Where we were talking about addictive states. Think about this could be the ultimate addiction, right? To where it's just like you literally um disassociate with life. You're just and you think you're happy, but just think about that operating reality to where there'll be a point in time. I can't remember what the cartoon was, but it's just these fat kids in these pods, that are in these VR realities, and they're just fat ucks. You know what I mean? And that's where we're headed. But the thing is, it's like nobody looks at the iPhone anymore as an enslavement device. We have all just
Accepted.
accepted it. It's spying on everything that we do. You know, I have my above phone here, right? Um, but I still use my iPhone as my daily phone, you know. Um,
And I think
and
that's you need permission to do that, right? Have two separate ones. Get used to. There's
yeah,
a lot of decoupling that has to take place in order to
yeah,
be able to adopt these new decentralized tools. And so
yeah.
just
But
giving
it does
yourself
take.
space and forgiveness.
Yeah, thank you. Because it does take that being on purpose with intent to be able to decouple, right? It's not easy to just do it all at once. But think about it, everybody. Think about if you had to go cold turkey from your iPhone, for 2 weeks, just totally cold turkey. What would that do to you? Now, fast forward a couple of years, and let's say you went down the AI as a mate path, right? And you don't even have to go to the store because Uber's delivering everything, right? And sure, you're getting fatter, you're drinking too much, you're having a lot of sex, right? Not really fulfilling sex, but you're having a lot of sex. You don't need to go to find a mate or bars or anything. And your girlfriend there, the one with the that needs a Tesla battery pack.
Charger. Yep.
That girlfriend never gives you shit about starting to get fat and that you haven't shaved, and you're just becoming a slob and your life goes to hell. And at first you like it, right? But then there's going to be a point in time to where you're going to wake up. You will have lost every relationship you've ever had. You'll just be you'll be dead. You'll be effectively dead. Do you want that? Do you want that? If not, make the decisions. I mean, go outside, make it your mission to try to be able to break the bonds that we placed upon us with different addictive behaviors. So, like with my alcohol, Pittner, just don't take that first fucking drink. That's what I think. You have no idea how many times that comes to mind. That tool for me comes to mind. But I couldn't imagine. I'm never going to allow it, my life, to get to where Pittner just, I don't even know what you would say with regard to a at-home love doll. But it's just like, just don't buy it. Don't do it. Stop. Don't go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, you need to know where your line is because incrementally they're gonna get pushed. And if you don't know, like my stance with VR, no,
Yeah.
I'm not using it at all. And so
Yes.
know where your lines are with this new technology coming out because before you know it, just like all this technology has been using cybernetics that was developed in the 30s to slowly integrate into all areas of our life without us recognizing how, I have to have Google Maps now or an alternative in order to get where I'm going.
100%.
Those are
It's so
skills that are no
convenient.
longer, active with me. But these have slowly integrated into all areas of our lives using cybernetics so that we can then be unaware as they take over, dangerous parts of our lives. And so know where the line is for yourself and don't cross that when the time comes.
I have a neighbor who he and his wife are retired. They live cat a corner across the street from me. And he has a wood shop in his garage, and tools and everything. And he was doing some work the other day, and I was taking a walk and was just chatting with him a little bit, talking to him about the food forest out back. We were just riffing and everything. And I was looking around at his shop, and I'm like, can you imagine kids today, like in their 20s? Do you think any of them are ever gonna have a shop like this? And he was like, nope. Nope. Nobody knows anything anymore on how to be self-sufficient, right? Mike talks about that all the time, about how he pushes himself on his ranch to actually do things that he could hire to get done, but he does them himself to figure it out so that he doesn't ever give up that ghost, right? And that I find to be inspiring, and so, well, what is your vision then for the future of holistic living, or uh, incorporating an entrepreneurial compass within holistic living? What's your vision, Joshua?
Well, I find joy in helping other people out with their missions. So I'm living a very fulfilled life. I live on 10 acres out in the country with my wife and my in-laws. So we have two separate dwellings,
Nice.
multi-generational farm. I'm raising my daughter in this environment. She goes to an outdoor adventure school. She's not going to public school. And so I'm already,
You're living it.
building the lifestyle that I want to live. I want to show others how to do so for themselves. And I have a ton of resources on my website. So if you go to joshuahale.io and go to the resource section, these are all free. So you can come and, figure out, do you want business? Do you want holistic living tips? And I'm also developing community building using mutual aid models so that we can have a dedicated community around us to insulate us from the societal changes that are inevitably happening.
Bingo. I got to stop you right there because this is very relevant to my operating reality right now. I do consultations for different things on through my website, and I had this wonderful woman reach out to me, and she booked a consultation. Um, she's in, shoot, I don't know. She's senior, pretty senior. She is uh requires in-home care because she had back in the late 90s, she ended up having um, a really bad doctor designate that she had kind of urinary tract infection, right? That ended up going into a surgery that made her completely incontinent as, a middle-aged woman. Totally turned her life upside down. She uh, has traveled all around the world to try to be able to look for alternative healing and solutions and such. But she lives right outside of Washington, D.C., in Virginia. And she ended up being prescribed Cipro. And after she was prescribed Cipro for, again, something happening in her stomach, one thing, side effect of that, it makes tendons brittle. She blew the tendons in her Achilles. The poor woman. I mean, can you imagine, right? Which is why she's bedridden. Okay. So she requires in home care. She reached out to me because ever since the Cipro, she suffers from the following affliction: wireless pollution accosts her brain to where she feels like she's just under attack all the time. So she called me, and I'm using you right now and anybody watching. I already talked to Mike Adams. We're already working on but I'm just putting into the universe. So everybody listening, please unpack the empathy that you have in your Rolodex. But what this woman asked, she said, I just want to book an hour with you so you can help me figure out. I just sold my home that I've had for 40 years, you know, and I still require in-home living, but I have to get away from the wireless pollution because I had to move into an apartment. And ever since I did, my home that I had, I was able to be wireless free, but not in the apartment. So she feels like she's going to die. And she asked, is there any place in this country that she could go to that she could move to that still would have resources enough to where she could have some in-home care, you know? And of course, she would pay for all of that and everything, but she just wants to be free of the energy pollution or the technology pollution, if you will. And so I told her I would
All right.
uncover
Well,
every
well, Todd, I
stone.
just went to ChatGPT and it said that there are quiet zones that have low EMF in them. There's whole cities. One notable one is called the National Radio Quiet Zone that spans in West Virginia and small sections in Maryland
Wow.
as well as the Green Bank Observatory and Sugar Grove Station. So these are areas where radio transmission are not allowed. So the overall EMF in that town is substantially low. And then this is a common thing that people are moving there for that low EMF lifestyle.
Wow. Wow. So we're seeing it right here live. ChatGPT driven the right way, providing solutions um, about a low EMF lifestyle
Quiet
and
zones.
quiet zones. Okay. Um, excellent. Excellent. Would you mind if I provide your contact info to her just in case, maybe you could help direct her even a little further or help her, navigate Chat GPT. But let's try to help this woman. That would be fantastic. So thank
What I'd
you.
love to do.
Thank you for that. That's awesome. Oh, good. Hey, so I've really benefited from our relationship, and you've given me so many great insights, and I have an additional query that I want to ask after the show. But what's one piece of advice that could profoundly impact listeners today, Joshua? Yeah.
Well, starting off with just examine those areas of your life, right? Where is there a disharmony?
Mm,
Once you can isolate those, remedy those, you can start living your true purpose. Life gets a lot simpler when you understand your values, your principles, and your goals, because things can difficult decisions get really simple, like yes
mm,
or no. So I'm able to just traverse through my existence with, confidence, knowing what I stand for, what I believe in, and because of that, I'm able to then put that energy that was all, dealing with chaos internally. I'm now able to externally help those around me. And so
mm.
people like you, Todd, helping people with their businesses, and then community building. That's another big thing that we didn't get to talk about, creating mutual aid communities. That is my purpose. I want to, comfortably transition through this big change that we're going through, and be able to, come out and thrive and not be
Well, let's I don't want to minimize that. Let's make that our next conversation that we have together, because I think we could do a whole show on that.
Yeah, I've been for the last 2 years. I've been leading a mutual aid group of 8 people, 8 families, and we've been meeting monthly to be able to figure out what we want to accomplish as a goal. We all paid dues each month, and with those dues, we were able to buy a freeze dryer, and then we pass that freeze dryer around. It's like $2,000-3,000.
Yeah.
So we now have that resource in our group, and we're able to take care of each other. And I have a trusted group of people that if stuff hits the fan, I can rely on, and it makes having a family feel a whole lot better. Having people in my area to be able to do so.
How great is that? I mean, it's like it's so funny. I had another neighbor, I have my food forest out back in the property. I have there's a herd of like 7 deer and like a dozen raccoons and stuff, and people, and I feed them all every day. And I had a neighbor say, "Why on earth would you do that?" I mean, do you hunt the deer? Do you don't the aren't the raccoon scavengers, aren't they, terrorizing you? Aren't they? And I'm like, first of all, I have an agreement with them. We all met, and I said, you guys stay out of my food forest, and I'll come back into your area and I'll feed you every day. Is that fair? And they all agreed. They signed the document, or they paw printed it and everything. Um, and then, I told this guy, and I'm joking everybody out there, but I told the guy, and I was totally deadpan. I said, but the way I look at it is right now I'm feeding them. And if shit hits the fan, you know, they'll have a way of giving back. And he thought I was dead serious. Maybe I am.
But it's true. You're preserving protein on your property by
Yes.
cultivating and
They
inviting
say,
them
yeah,
into the.
they say you can't grow beef in your garden. I can grow venison. And what I learned today, I was out there and I'm like, my God, I hadn't noticed. But the shoot, why am I having a mental block?
The fruit.
Not the raccoons, the squirrels. Sorry. My squirrels are like little hulks. They're getting massive because they eat so much every day. They go out, I'm like, gosh, one of them was like, you're like a cat. I'm like, yeah, I bet you're yummy,
Well,
but
it really shows that a regenerative lifestyle can be a land of abundance, right?
that's right. Yes, yes. So, well, this Joshua has been very fun for me and everybody watching. Like I said, I'm going to have more of these that are just random, interesting people that I'm going to have on. Really, almost as much. I guess a way that you could put it is, instead of me, I would have had this conversation with you without it being recorded, and enjoyed every minute of it. But instead of doing that, why not let other people be voyeurs on the conversation, on good conversations? So, this is voyeurism that you can feel good about. How about that? There's an AI generated thumbnail in there somewhere. But I am going to go to that website and after this afternoon, and I'm going to start playing around. I want to see what I can come up with now that we've recorded the show. So thank you for that breadcrumb. Okay, so anything before we leave, Joshua, that you want to leave the good people with?
That's it. Yeah, go check out my resources. I make a ton of stuff for free. You can follow me on social media, the Holistic Wizard. I never thought I would, but I just started a TikTok just because of the amount of people I can reach there.
Yeah,
So follow me on social media for daily tips on how to utilize technology in order to create well-being in a holistic manner.
beautiful, beautiful. Okay, well, we will have you back. We will have you on again, and we'll go down a different rabbit hole, if you will. But it's been fun. So thank you very much, Joshua. I'm going to end. I think it'll cut us off. It does. I'll give you a buzz back because I have one other question for you, just personally. But everybody, I will be back tomorrow with a live stream at noon I'm going to be interviewing Dr. Cap, who's particle .io, I believe, PARTICL. But he has an update, and on that update, I'm going to challenge him to figure out with his base swap DEX. If you guys Google that, base swap DEX, I want to see if we can get Epic Cash integrated into that. But he has a whole update on the project. So that'll be tomorrow at noon. Look forward to seeing you there. All right, Joshua, talk to you here in a minute. Cheers.